I'm Avery Davidson.
And I'm Kristen Oaks-White. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. Well, a recent study from 3 entities pegged the damage from recent hurricanes at $500 million to the state's aquaculture industries.
Officials with Louisiana Sea Grant, the LSU Ag Center, and the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries say that's a conservative number and there's no real way to calculate it all. TWILA's Neil Melanson takes us to Dulac, Louisiana to show us that damage is very real and still ongoing.
It's a beautiful day in Dulac, Louisiana. The shrimp boats that are coming in are busy picking up ice and dropping off shrimp. If you look closer, though, you can see signs of Hurricane Ida, which hit less than 6 months ago here. Kim Chauvin says, like many in this area, that experience was one of the worst of her life.
We stayed because I had COVID. We stayed in our home. And right after Ida hit, I was hospitalized for about a week. So my husband was probably the most overwhelmed in his entire life at that point.
David Chauvin is still busy. He takes time out of managing to help unload the boats that come in to unload shrimp. Bringing in shrimp hasn't been much of an issue as making ice, critical to both loading onto the boats before they go out and in preserving the shrimp at the dock.
Hurricane Ida triage, right? What can we fix? What can we get working as soon as possible? Our number one goal was to start producing ice again, because without ice, the fishermen can't go out and catch the shrimp. And that was a challenging, all on its own.
The study of the damage from recent hurricanes on aquaculture showed $580 billion of direct impact on the state. That damage is likely much more extensive when indirect impacts are taken into account, according to Louisiana Sea Grant's Dr. Julie Lively.
And it's really just looking at the direct infrastructure, the direct revenue, and the direct actual biological loss. But even when I say biological loss, it does not include any crabs or shrimp. It's mostly finfish and oysters, because we just don't have a great way to measure those losses.
Those indirect impacts are seen every day here in Dulac. Kim Chauvin says whether there are shrimpers or dock workers, everyone here is still rebuilding, even as they're trying to conduct business as usual.
You don't know if their boat sank. You don't know if they were able to recoup them or if it was a total loss. There's not an understanding of that at this point, and you don't know how many seafood docks have been absolutely decimated to the cement, and there's a lot of them.
Nearly 5 months after Hurricane Ida came roaring through this community, the damage from it can still be seen. If you look over my left shoulder, blue tarps like the one on that house back there still serve as roofs from many of the places here in this community. And as Mardi Gras season gets kicked off here and many folks think about the tourists coming in for classical Louisiana meals like seafood gumbo and shrimp po' boys, the people providing ingredients for those meals are still suffering. Reporting from Dulac, Louisiana, I'm Neil Melanson.
Many in the industry are hoping to use the study of damages to Louisiana's aquaculture for more federal assistance, especially since there is no commodity program for Louisiana seafood like there are for row crops. In the meantime, some small relief will be available for shrimpers and fishermen just in time for the Super Bowl.
On Sunday, February 13th, an event called Feed the Fleet will be held in Golden Meadow at the Park Pavilion beginning at noon. All commercial fishermen and charter industry personnel are invited to attend. Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser is expected to be on hand, as well as Louisiana Sea Grant, which will have information on applying for hurricane assistance and other aid. We'll have more on this event on our website at twilatv.org.
Another area still recovering from hurricane damage is Lake Charles.
That's where the Louisiana Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers recently gathered for its 2022 Leadership Conference. This is the first in-person gathering for the conference since early 2020. As TWILA's Carl Wiggers shows us, this event brought in many new faces, sent them home with some new friends and a new mission.
Young farmers, ranchers, and ag professionals filled this room in Lake Charles. They are here for the 2022 Louisiana Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers Leadership Conference. Louisiana Farm Bureau Young Farmer and Rancher Chair Vincent Canatella says these events are great for networking with your peers in agriculture.
We have a lot of new faces, which is great. We are looking for more people to get involved. Hopefully the new people we have here today will go out and branch out and bring newer members next year and later on down the future to have us a strong membership base.
This room is dialed in for Dr. Kevin Folta, a microbiologist from the University of Florida. He's talking about how far agricultural technology has come and how important it is for young farmers who use that tech to engage in the conversations about it. Dr. Folta says a great way for these farmers to do that is simply sharing information and posts from others who share your opinions.
Find other people that share your view and simply share their information with your networks, either through Facebook or Twitter or any kind of social media. I believe that if everybody in agriculture, scientists, farmers, and all the associated industries were to invest about 5 to 15 minutes a week, we could radically change the perception of agriculture.
This event was not just meetings in a hotel conference space. The group also visited and tasted some Louisiana spirits from Bayou Rum. Canatella says the social aspect of the conference is important to build those lifelong friendships that you find in this organization.
It's a great organization to be in, to make lifelong friends and network for your line of business if you're in ag, whether you're actually farming, ranching, or you're just in the sales division of agriculture or even the lending division of agriculture. You'll make contacts here and friends here that'll last you your life.
More than 50 young farmers and ranchers attended this year's conference. If you would like to learn more about the Louisiana Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers program, head over to our website at twilatv.org. And you guys, I left the group after this tour was over at Bayou Rum, but I can only assume that after the tour, things got a little more fun with the group. I mean, they were already having a good time, but you could see in the story, you know what happens at Bayou Rum.
Do you think they loosened up a little bit?
Probably a little bit. That line to get the goodies at that distillery was so long because I stood in line.
As someone who may have sampled Bayou Rum a few times.
Maybe this?
Maybe, wait, there's some missing out of that bottle.
I didn't touch this. It's still sealed. This is for you. I brought back goodies.
Thank you.
And Kristen, you always ask.
You follow.
What'd you bring me?
I brought you some spiced rum. Go back to your college days, maybe. Who knows?
Woohoo!
Look at that. Well, hang on to this until we get off the set.
You can always count on me to bring something back. I'm learning from Neil's mistakes.
See, he can
He's
be
getting
taught.
bonus points.
There you go. A little something extra in your check. Thank you very much, Carl Waiters.
Well, if you'd like your own goodies from Bayou Rum, Carl brought back enough for you too. We're doing a giveaway on our Facebook page, so be sure to follow us, and we'll post how you can win an awesome prize pack from Bayou Rum. Keep in mind, you must be 21 to win, but we'll link you over to that on our website at twilatv.org. Well, moving on, Louisiana is one of the top 4 states to use seasonal farm labor through the H-2A visa program. That's according to the USDA.
Because Louisiana farmers are so dependent upon that program to get the workers they need, the Louisiana Farm Bureau is holding its annual Mid-South Agricultural Labor Seminar. It's set to take place Wednesday, February 23rd at the West Baton Rouge Conference Center and Tourist Bureau in Port Allen. That's just off of I-10 near Baton Rouge. Registration starts at 7 in the morning and the program goes from 8 until 2:30 in the afternoon. Topics set for discussion are the proposed H-2A adverse effect wage rate, the Farm Workforce Modernization Act, and visa fee increases. I can assure you that the information and expertise you'll find there is not available anywhere else, especially in one spot like that. To learn more, visit our website at twilatv.org. Well, things are finally boiling up for Louisiana as crawfish season has already kicked off.
That's good news. And this week we sent TWILA's Brianne Hendrickson to find out how the season is going and to get her first real taste of Louisiana crawfish.
Crawfish season is underway, meaning boilers are fired up here at Tony's Seafood. To some, it's about a regular stop to pick up dinner for the evening, but to Bill Pizzolatto, co-owner of the family business, it's about keeping Louisiana crawfish, well, on our plates or in the bag. And this season seems to be off to a great start.
Tony's Seafood, the world's best crawfish right here.
We have a better size than we had last year this time, and it's due to the November and December warm weather. We had it reach 80 degrees, 82 degrees for Christmas Day. So with all that looking, I mean, it looks great going forward. Other than we're going to still have some more cold weather in February, so it's going to be kind of like a little roller coaster, but the opportunity that's going forward, you know, it should be some great chances for people to get some fair prices on crawfish going forward.
While warm weather is coming and backyard boils start, Pizzolatto reminds us the importance of crawfish farmers to Louisiana culture.
And the farmers, we want to support them because they're the backbone of our crawfish business. And our whole time that we've been in business, we've never, used anything but Louisiana crawfish. Other than the year 2000, we brought in Spanish crawfish because it's an industrialized country just like we are. But in China, about 20 years ago, they brought in cheap crawfish and dumped them on the market, and it really hurt the farmer. But by us, dealing with the farmer, you got a certain respect that you want to keep them in business because it keeps us in business.
Grab your bag of crawfish, dig your claws in, but most importantly,
really get out and buy Louisiana crawfish and support the farmers, because without them, we would not have early crawfish.
I must say a huge thank you to Bill for taking me behind the scenes at Tony's Seafood and showing me the process of bringing Louisiana crawfish from the farm to your table and mine. If you want to find out more about Tony's Seafood, you can head over to our website, twilatv.org.
And Bree, I've got to ask you, I know you're from Indiana in the Midwest. And
Yes.
you went to school in Oklahoma, and anybody that I've come across from that area cannot stand seafood. So what did you think of crawfish?
I loved it. I went back for seconds last night. I absolutely loved it.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, so Bill always sends us back with like more than we can possibly eat. And so I was like, here, Brianne, take this big old bag of crawfish.
Yeah, there's still some left over, but tonight's dinner.
And then he put the crawfish to sleep, you said?
Yeah, he just rubbed his little head, like put him down and rubbed his little head. It was really cool.
We'll have to do a TWILA Extra about that.
Oh yeah, we got to show that because that was I've never seen it done before, and I've been
That's
in
impressive,
Louisiana.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm 48 years I've been here, so
Yeah.
you'd think I'd see someone put a crawfish to sleep. I've seen them do it with an alligator, never a crawfish. Thank you very much, Brianne Hendrickson.
Well, the cold weather is upon us, but crawfish are still available statewide. Prices are up a little bit, but this is still normal for this time of year. The cold isn't stopping our crawfish farmers from catching.
Not at all. Since Brianne went to Tony's this week, we saw their prices are $4.49 for live and $5.99 a pound for delicious in-house boiled crawfish.
In Lake Charles, Contraband Crawfish has them for $3.75 a pound for live and $6.25 for boiled.
In Winsboro, Clark's Crawdad Hole has crawfish for $4.75 a pound live and $6.99 a pound boiled.
And as always, if you want some for this weekend, call ahead as prices can change week to week and even day to day. These crawfish prices are brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, which reminds you to always eat Louisiana crawfish and to make sure, ask before you eat.
Apparently, strawberries are a bit like crawfish because if you've traveled to a local farmer's market lately, you may have noticed Louisiana strawberries on some tables, but it's far from strawberry season.
Ponchatoula strawberry farmer William Fletcher explains how the warmer, wet winter we had allowed Louisiana strawberries to get an early jump on the season that's still really a month away.
So here we are on January 31st at my farm here in Ponchatoula, and we're picking a few strawberries. Not that it's unusual to have a few this time of year. What is unusual is that we have been having as many as we have had up to this point in the year. And the reason for that has been an inordinately warm winter. All the strawberries that you see here in this field were planted in mid-October, and throughout the course of the fall they produce more leaves and more crowns, and those crowns will produce a few blooms. The blooms are what turn into strawberries, and we can usually get a few in around Christmas or the first of the year, and then the weather starts getting cold. The plants go dormant to a degree, and a lot of the blooms that the plants have made up until that point get damaged by cold weather. This year we had warmer weather, so the plants continued to make blooms. Those blooms didn't see any cold weather to damage them, so they were able to mature into harvestable berries. Just here in the last few weeks, we've seen some low 20s. Parts of the area have seen teens. That has shown up in the field as decreased production. We do have some damaged fruit and some damaged blooms. Now, what that is necessarily doing for us at this particular moment is we are seeing a slowdown in production. It will delay the onset of the season proper, but a little bit of cold weather is not bad for the plants at this time. Officially, strawberry season is March and April and a little bit of May. When the length of day is correct, the fertilizer amount is correct, and the temperatures are correct, they will make a lot of blooms. We should be past the cold weather point at that time. Those blooms will turn into harvestable berries, and we'll have hopefully just an absolutely fantastic strawberry season come March and April of this year.
Fletcher says the cold weather has started to catch up with the plants and the harvest is slowing down, but fear not. There are more coming in March when the weather warms up and the days get a little bit longer. In the meantime, you can find Fletcher and other strawberry farmers at local farmers markets, and they may have a few flats of strawberries this week or next. So shop early and shop often. To find a farmers market near you, head over to our website at twilatv.org. So early starts for crawfish and strawberries. And since we're shooting the show on Groundhog Day, what do the prognosticating rodents have to say about the length of our winter?
Well, that so-called expert, Puxatawny Phil, up there in Pennsylvania, claims there will be 6 more weeks of winter. But I'm sorry, I do not trust groundhogs, especially those that whisper into some guy's ear. No, I'm going with the prediction made by Parrish the Nutria at the Audubon Zoo in New Orleans. As you can see here, Parrish predicts an early spring. The crawfish are here early. I've got Louisiana strawberries at my house. That Nutria knows better than some crazy groundhog. I'm just saying, if you're going to shop local, go with your predictions local, right?
I hope you're right, and I hope we don't have another Valentine's Day freeze out this year.
Yeah, I'll be getting hate mail if that happens.
That you will be.
Well, still to come on TWILA, we see what happens when a Farm Bureau staffer goes to work on a farm for a day.
But first, a look at Louisiana's sugarcane crop and the research of the soil it's grown in. Stay with us. The Louisiana sugarcane harvest season is over and most mills finish grinding by January 20th.
As TWILA's Craig Gautreaux shows us, this year's crop was a lighter one in terms of cane tonnage, but sugar recovery was excellent.
Despite a wet and hurricane-plagued growing season, Louisiana sugarcane producers still managed to put together a decent crop. Growers in the southeast part of the cane belt had the hardest time, battling nearly 100 inches of rain during the year and 100-mile-an-hour winds brought on by Hurricane Ida.
You've got some people with a top 3 crop, you got some people with a good average crop, and you got a handful of people where Hurricane Ida passed with a very poor crop.
While the growing season was wet, the harvest season was unusually dry, which helped boost sugar recovery. Gravois expects the state to average about 240 pounds of sugar for every ton of processed cane.
Great sugar recovery. It was a dry harvest. We surely needed that after a wet year. So with that, a dry harvest, it was a cheap crop to harvest.
The harvest conditions for this year's crop influenced the yield for next year's crop. Because the harvest was so dry, fields were not rutted up and farmers were able to prepare fields for next year.
When you harvest the crop dry, that bodes well for 22. All the work that you got done in the fall of 21 bodes well for the 22 crop.
A key concern for next year is the escalating cost of fertilizer. Gravois said there are a few things growers can do to help offset these costs, but fertilizer is still an essential ingredient to producing a successful crop.
You can't make a crop without fertilizer, and it's hard to see how you can cut corners to a great degree with fertilizer application.
Gravois said prices remain good, which is helping to offset the lower sugar production for many farmers. With the LSU Ag Center, this is Craig Gautreaux reporting.
Because of the tough growing conditions, this year's total tonnage in sugarcane produced in Louisiana is expected to be about 8 to 10% lower than last year. Here on TWILA, we often show you the fruits of the harvest or the products made from what we grow in Louisiana, but none of that is possible without the soil under our feet.
Soil health is important for all farmers and ranchers, which is why the LSU Ag Center supports its researchers who focus on the science of soil.
Soil is really a living ecosystem. There are more than 1 billion organisms in a handful of soil. And so soil health kind of brings in that idea that it is a living system and we should treat it as such, and trying to use that information to determine, are we creating healthy environments for those microbes and the plants and the people that depend on it. My name is Lisa Foltz, and I am the soil microbiologist with the LSU Ag Center. We're very much interested in how things like organic matter is formed and built up in the soil, and also how nutrients turn over and what plays a role in that. And those microbial communities are really drivers for those processes. We're looking a lot at the bacteria and the fungi that live in the soil, but that's not the only organisms when we talk about soil biology. We're also looking at things like ants and nematodes, earthworms, all of those things that help break down organic material and turn over the soil, provide enzymatic activity. The enzymes are what really help break that down. We have specific ones that help with breaking down carbon and nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus. And as those enzymes work on the organic material, they release those nutrients into the soil. And so other organisms can use them, other plant material can use them, and it's really just a beneficial system where they work together. So when you have this diverse community, they're all competing for the same resources, and so they kind of help keep plant diseases or organisms that are detrimental to plant growth in check. The other part of that is that they are breaking down that organic material. You're actually recycling a lot of that material back into that system, and you're not having to put in as many inputs as far as fertilizers and pesticides and that kind of thing back into that system. I went through several different degrees before I landed in environmental science, and part of that requirement was taking an Intro to Soil Science course, and I was pretty much hooked from the time being. This resource that nobody really thinks about, people walk on it every day and don't really consider it, how important it is from food and fiber perspective, structures for housing, growth and all of that. It's just really an amazing resource that we don't spend a lot of time talking about.
Still to come on TWILA, our friends at Arkansas Farm Bureau show us what life on a farm is really like and how tough it is.
A comical TWILA boost is coming up. Stay with us.
What happens when you take a public relations director out of the office and put him to work out on the farm? The results? A comical yet informative video from our friends at the Arkansas Farm Bureau.
In this week's TWILA Boost, we're sharing a clip of their new series, Filthy Farm Jobs, that showcases the hard and sometimes dirty work farmers and ranchers do every day.
Hey, Rob.
Hey.
Hey, I need you like right now.
Okay, what's up?
I got a job for you. You got any boots?
Boots?
Yeah, you're probably gonna get kind of dirty.
Okay.
You must be the new guy.
Hey, yeah, I'm Rob.
I'm
Rob
Jim.
Anderson.
Okay. Your boots are a little short.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Well,
maybe your feet won't.
They're pretty clean too.
Yeah. Maybe your feet won't get too wet.
Oh, look at that. No,
Yeah,
I should have gone that route, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's fantastic. What are we doing here today?
We're going over here.
We're going over here?
And we're going to pull this spill out.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it sounds wet.
Yeah.
My boots are too short.
Well, I thought he was probably a capable individual. He looked like he was a big, strong guy. He can go out and get the job done.
Now, have you ever face planted out here? Because I can see myself going down.
I've slipped a few times, but I've never fell.
All right. Well, I can make that happen. All right. What do we got here?
The first thing you do is you come up here to this spill, and I always unhook these hooks here first.
Okay. They're on a hook.
Right there.
Now, I've heard there's maybe snakes under here.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Kind of like that right there.
Now that's unnecessary. Okay. That was okay. Yeah. All right. Well, are we done? But that made the rest of the day. Every time you're peeling back that orange, you're thinking, what's about to come out.
To watch this entire episode, visit our website at twilatv.org.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in 13 minutes of that video.
It is. Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we'll have a very special episode for you highlighting Louisiana FFA.
Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also find all these stories and a little bit more on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. That way you know when we put something new out.
For all of us here at TWILA, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.